Yo, GM, what is good, everybody? Turn the music down a little bit. Get this underway in just a moment. How's everybody doing on this fine Thursday evening? Just sending out a few posts and messages. Just bear with me a moment. Get rid of that. There we go. Yo, what up, Munar? How are you, my homie? Thanks for being here. Man, Twitter really needs to figure out how they're handling these live streams, these broadcasts. It's been like over a week now, and they haven't been handling them properly. They don't show up in the feed. They don't show up on my page, on my profile. They really kind of broke it. So Nikita Beer, if you're out there, please fix the broadcast situation. Orangutan says, yo, as well. What is good? How are you? Always good to have you. Some familiar faces. How's the volume? Mic volume is okay. Music is low in the background. Okay. Finish sending out those posts. We're looking good. What are we looking at? Well, we got the BTC H12. Let's go to daily. The BTC daily chart up. Looks as though ETH put in a daily SFP. Got my alert here from my high time frame swing screener pro suite. The tools that I built to help with my workflow. Let's take a look, shall we? Since it's telling us there's a daily SFP. It's saying H4 on BTC. I don't know if that's still underway. Let's take a look at ETH and let's take a look. Oh, we did. We got a daily SFP on ETH. Interesting. Very interesting. We'll dig into that in a little bit. Before we do, want to say welcome to Rapture's Scalp and Swing Sessions number 15, the Daily Close Show. Today we're going to focus on our high time frame levels, strategy, take a look at some low time frame setups, the type of setups that I look for so that when you guys see them take place on your chart, you can take advantage of the setups without me needing to spoon feed the setup to you, right? Like by now you should know that I'm all about high time frame levels. I'm all about marking out daily, H12, H4, weekly, monthly, all those higher time frame levels, and then trading the low time frame interactions off of them, whether that be for a scalp, an intraday short-term scalp trade, an intraday swing trade, or a higher time frame swing trade, depending on what type of trading you like doing, what time frame you like to exist on. So we're going to take a look at BTC ETH SOL. I have Hype still here. I haven't edited that in a while. We'll take a look at Hype and see how that's doing, if it's following through with our bullish weekly breaker setup that we've been outlined for a little while. I'm going to butcher this, but Arafat Khan, hopefully I did not butcher that, says, hello, how are you? Welcome. Thanks for joining. I want to give a shout out to the good folks over at BingX, bingx.com. If you're looking for an exchange with many, many pairs and high leverage, although I'm not big on high leverage. I use 10x is usually the highest leverage that I use, but I think they have up to 150x, which is quite insane. Apologies, excuse me. But if you're looking for a new exchange to use, go to bingx.com and use code Rapture for a bunch of sign-up bonuses and perks. Arafat Khan says he got the YouTube channel link from my Twitter account. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us. First-time viewer. At least I don't recognize your username. Or first-time chatter or caller, I guess. the old school. What's that that phrase from the old talk show radio, the radio talk shows? Long-time listener, first-time caller. Munar says he just realized BingX has TradingView integration. It does, means that you can trade directly from your TradingView chart if you have access to BingX. It is a KYC'd exchange. They're also a title sponsor for the Ferrari Formula One team. Big Formula One fan, personally. More of a Max Verstappen fan myself. But I've also been a Ferrari fan various times in my life. For the tifosi out there. Okay. So now that we've done the overview of what we're going to take a look at today, let's just dive right in. We're going to be focused on our high time frame levels, some strategy for the coming days, what we'd be looking for, and outline some low time frame setups. Tom Myers, a comedian, say, hey, I got to head out, but I'm in your TGA. Foods put me on a while ago. Appreciate your insights. Gonna catch the stream next time. Take care, bro. Hey, well, appreciate you sending word in the chat. You can catch up on the replays. The replays are always available. I thank you for those kind words. And thank you for being in the TG, which brings me, you just reminded me. If you are not a member of the Telegram channel, Rapture's Tradebook, you can find a link in the description for this video on YouTube or in my bio on Twitter. JJ Jaguar Cat GM, brother. How are you, my good friend? And another new viewer, MMXQ7PJ, says, GM, are you a regular streamer? Just got here. Yes. About 3 times a week we pump out these shows. We do a more evening focused high time frame show for our high time frame levels, and then we also do some earlier Eastern time, earlier during the day, for the New York Open live trading sessions. So yes, I do stream quite regularly. I just started the series back up about 3 or 4, I guess it's been almost a month now, weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. And we're on episode 15 or session 15 since I've made my return to streaming. Crazy that's already been 15. Time is flying by. Okay, enough of that. But thank you for being here. I appreciate everyone who's here. I appreciate everyone who shows up. That regardless of where you are on your trading journey, that you're looking to improve and you're looking to find a strategy and a process, right? All about process, patience, and execution. That is my mantra that I live by in trading and in life as well. Very process driven, very patient. And when it's the right moment, execution is paramount. But now that we've got that out of the way, let's get back to the chart. So why don't we start with ETH? Because we did have an alert. Here, I can pop this up over here. ETH put in a daily SFP. It's also saying BTC H4 SFP. It obviously has not closed yet. And I don't know if the SFP is still on the way. We'll take a look at it. But daily SFP on ETH, which we can see here confirmed, daily SFP there. So that is interesting and of note. Are there any other levels that we need to mark out on ETH on daily? It doesn't look like it. I mean, I see one here. We could probably pull a swing level there. What I can see is that volatility is compressing, right? This is now what, 1, 2, 3, 4, our 5th day, this very tight range on daily. Let's take a look at H12. Very similar levels, right? So this is now a daily level, but this was an H12 level that took out an SFP. The other day, right, we're just ping-ponging. We're ping-ponging from SFP to SFP, which is what we like, especially for my strategy, my process for trading. I'm all about SFP focused trading. Let me change this music up. I don't want it to just be vibing this whole time with that one song in the background. There we go. It's evening time, chiller vibes. Okay, so now we're on the BTC H12 chart. Levels haven't really changed, right? We were kind of looking for this level down here to get taken out, which it hasn't yet. We have put in a daily SFP here, which we love. We're all about SFPs, especially on higher time frame, right? This was H12, so let's adjust that to current interval and below. There's our H12 levels. We did take out an SFP there. Let's just see real quick. Do we have a setup forming here? Would you look at that? There's your H1 breaker, closed above, retested, boom. What is a breaker? Particular entry style breaker. Well, in particular for myself, what I look for is a high time frame SFP, which we know we had a daily SFP here. It's also an H12 SFP. Well, then we go down to lower time frames to see what's a lower time frame that created that SFP. What created the high time frame SFP? Well, this H1 swing high here created that daily SFP, right? You could say this as well, but this is really the final one. This was the lowest point of the SFP. Then we had a market structure break, flip the box. There we go. Probably had something on lower time frames too. Let's take a look. Yeah, we did. On M15. We had an M15 breaker right there. Apologies about that. Still dealing with that tail end of that cold that I caught earlier in the week. Or was it last week? Was it the end of last week? I can't even remember. It might have been Saturday or Sunday. Okay, BTC keeps telling us H4 SFP. Let's just go take a look. I mean, why beat around the bush? If BTC is telling us there it is, there's the H4 SFP, right? These tools are invaluable. These alerts that I get for SFPs, which is a tool that I built, a set of screeners to help streamline and speed up the process for the exact way that I like to trade, which is very SFP focused. So what's the level that's getting SFP? Well, it's right there. There's your H4 SFP. Still, you know, more than halfway of the candle to go before it closes, almost just under 3 hours. So the lot can change, and this, you know, may not end as an SFP, but that is what we see. Okay, let's go back to ETH though. I don't want to just keep jumping around like that, right? So ETH, daily SFP, H12 SFP in a compressing H12 range, right? This is an internal range. The actual H12 range itself is from here to here. From there to there. It's a bearish H12 range. Why here? This is the swing high that created the low, making a lower low below the previous H12 swing low. Well, now we're here, right? This is our H12 range. This is an internal range. It's a compressing range. And go even higher time frame, see what's going on. Like, I still on monthly would like ETH to just take that out. Just come down here and take that out. Take out that monthly level. We can see how important that monthly level has been, right? flipped it, boom, retested it, boom. Well, I would like to see price come into there. Weekly, not much has changed. We're still dealing with this inside week, right? We closed as an inside week last week when the week traded within the week before it. Inside week. We're still inside. We're doing an inside, which is pretty crazy. You know, how much the volatility is compressing. That's how little we've moved this week. And we knew that already just by looking at daily, right? Compressing range. Looking at H12, compressing range. Well, we've put in that SFP down here. Maybe we're going to run up into the highs again. Maybe we run up into some of these other highs up here. Go to H4, see what's taking place. Our H4 bearish breaker that we outlined last session on, was it Sunday? Was it Sunday? Ooh, kind of slacked this week. Didn't get in as many sessions this week. Did I have another one on Tuesday maybe? No, I don't think I did. I don't think that I did. MMXQ7PJ is asking hype H4 SFP retest and long setup. We can take a look at hype in a little bit. It's part of the plans, but I don't want to jump all over the place. We'll get to it in a little bit. So the H4 bearish breaker, right? Off of, was it this level? No, it was a little bit higher. The H4 bearish breaker acted as supply, as we would expect. It also put in an H4 SFP into the bearish breaker, and then there's the result. We're into the H12 bullish breaker, right? Was this an H12? No, it's an H4. It's an H4 bullish breaker. So we're bouncing between an H4 bullish and an H4 bearish breaker. Is this level still relevant? It looks like it came down into here. There we go. But that was our daily level, so I don't want to mess with that. Is this going to be relevant at some point? We don't know. So for anyone that's new, for you lads that are new, all I'm doing is I'm marking out the high time frame levels of interest for me. Because how I trade is I mark out my high time frame levels and then I just trade low time frame interactions. All right. So this is a late, for me, this is now late to this move. All right. It's a daily level, but I would have been zoomed in. I was trading BTC earlier today and wasn't focused on ETH, even though I pointed out yesterday how clean ETH has been trading. And I said, maybe I need to shift my focus to ETH. I don't know. I'm just so dialed in on BTC that it is hard to shift my focus. I feel intimate with the BTC price movements. But it's the same thing on ETH, right? So this morning, you got an M5 bullish breaker into the daily SFP. This is the daily SFP right here. This is the daily level. We took that SFP into there, flipped it, meaning we flipped that level with a close above, retested into it, and boom. You even had M5 and M15 SFPs into that bullish breaker. It's also an M15 bullish breaker. So for anyone wondering, for the people that follow me or following along my journey, wherever that is, on Twitter, on YouTube, in Telegram, when you see me post the charts with the high time frame levels, what I'm looking for is when price comes down in one of my levels, right? And in combination with the alerts that I have, bringing awareness to an interaction at one of those levels and on what time frame it is. Well, when that's taking place, then I'm going, well, I can pull up my battle station. People that have been around for a while have seen and know my main battle station and what it looks like when I'm trading, right? With the indicators on. Today's episode isn't about the indicators though, right? We're not focused on low time frame execution right now. We're focused on our high time frame levels and what the low time frame setups that I like look like. But this morning, right, you're getting a lot of aggressive selling into the daily level, late shorts, flip the level. Like there's all kinds of triggers going on here. And this is on M1. On M5 even, right? Here's our breaker. Swing high that created the wick of the daily SFP, flipped it into a bullish breaker with the close above, retest, boom. All right, see it on M5 as well, or sorry, M15. All right. This is the swing high that creates the wick of the daily SFP, closed above, retest, boom. That's what I look for, right? So just so you're aware, when you're marking your high time frame levels the way that I do, those are the type of setups that I look for, right? And guys, please make use of the shortcut keys, right? Like look how quickly and easy it is for me to pop those indicators on and off. I do that all day long when I'm taking trades, right? When I'm just monitoring price clean, I like it without the indicators on and just my levels. When it comes down into my areas, you know, you pop on your indicators and you see what's taking place, right? We've had late aggressive buys up into here, which is into the weekly open area, right? You can see that. Weekly open. Late aggressive buys up into the move. I don't know. I feel like this probably still has some more room into it. It's probably going to start to catch a bid somewhere in here. But again, let's get back to our high time frame levels. Indicators off. There's ETH H12. Here's ETH H4. So what I can see that we can do now, right, I'm just scanning the different time frames, taking a look to see what I can see. Do I think that level is going to become relevant again? Oops. No, that's not what I want to do. There we go. Jesus. What are you doing, Rap? Pull it together, man. Okay, so what I can see, we do have an H4 level here. Be looking for a potential interaction off of. Clean this all up a little bit. So ideally, this is where your daily time frame long is coming from. Like where was our H1 breaker, right? H1 breaker was here. So you can say to yourself, pullbacks into here with a low time frame trigger and setup, you're looking to hunt the next long, right? Like maybe it comes down into here and gives you an H1 SFP. As a retest into the breaker. Unknown. Time will tell. Unknown as of yet, right? This is the up move for the down, creating the high time frame daily SFP. Flip the level with a market structure break there. This close above. Retest into the box. Boom. Maybe it comes down again. It gives you another entry. But that's what I see on ETH. Go back to H4 one last time and see if there's any other levels that I might want to mark out, but I think that's about it. I'm just asking myself, will this be relevant again? If it comes down into here, I think you just want to see it come down, take out the blows again. But, you know, I like to have the levels there, or if and or when price gets there. If I see an interaction on low time frames that I like, I can take the trade with minimal, with the shortest amount of thought process, right? That's the whole thing. I want to be able to take split-second decisions when price comes into one of my levels. That's why I mark out the high time frame levels. That's why, you know, my charts may have more lines at times than you're used to seeing. Why do I do that? Well, it's because I am a reactionary trader. I don't set limit orders ahead of time for high time frame trades. I usually mark it in, and I'll set limit exits. I usually ride a manual stop. I'm not really using hard stops these days because I am trading such low time frame interactions that I can see quickly the sort of price action that I like to see. And if it starts to trade against the way that I'm looking for, then I can cut quickly and take another stab at the trade. So I mitigate the chance for losses. I mitigate drawdown, and I get on board the trade the moment that makes most sense probability-wise from a price action perspective for the way that I trade. So there's our levels on ETH. Again, put in a daily SFP. That is not something you ignore. I think if you get something that price that comes back down into here, does something like that. On H1, if you get another chance at that, potentially doing something like that, putting in an H1 SFP off of a level like that, and then flipping that into an H1 breaker or another H1 setup, or even just the H1 SFP itself you could take, because you already have the bullish H1 breaker. This box right here is the outlined H1 bullish breaker. If you get an H1 SFP into there, you can just take that trade. And your invalidation is quite tight. Like the invalidation of the whole setup is down here, but you can base a trade off of here. And if you get an H1 SFP and then it starts trading below there, you can cut early if you need to and look for a next setup. That's the beauty of the way that I trade on low time frame for execution, right? Like you can be down here on M5. And say you get something that looks like, so what we would want is like an H1 SFP. So say price comes down into this level and it does something like this, where you had a swing high into a swing low, but you would want that into this level, and then it flipped it. Well, there was your M5 breaker, right? Which held here. Swing high to swing low, there's your bullish M5 breaker. Price flipped it, retested, and boom. Well, I much prefer it when it's attached to a high time frame SFP. In this instance, being M5, H1 would be high time frame, right? Like ultimately the trade itself is a daily setup. It's a daily signal. But you can do this on any time frame, right? Price is all just fractals, right? Like here, M1 flipped, put in a higher high, M1 bullish breaker, retested. The only thing is there's no high time frame SFP here, right? Like just say to yourself that here, say to yourself that this wasn't, just use your imagination, vibe with me, picture this with me, walk with me. Say this is an H1 level and it comes down, takes out the H1 level, and then flips the level that created that SFP, which would be this. This is just a hypothetical. This is not actually an H1 SFP. I'm just showing you how you do this on lower time frames. So say this is an H1 level or an H4 level or a daily level. It doesn't matter, right? This is the higher time frame swing level. Doesn't have to be range defining. It can be an internal swing level. Say this is an H1 level. Well, M1 comes down, takes out the level, creates an SFP. Price flips the swing high that created that SFP, right? Like let's zoom right in here. Let's zoom right in here. Let's get rid of this and you can see really quickly. So here is the swing high that creates that SFP. Price closes above, creating a market structure break, retest the breaker, boom. So then you'd say to yourself, well, here's your breaker. This is your magic encoded box. It tells you three things. It tells you where your market structure break level is, it tells you where your invalidation is, and it tells you where your entry is, which is also the market structure break level. Now you can get more granular by looking for low time frame SFPs within here, or you can just enter off the edge of the box, right? And when you take this sort of low time frame action, right? Remember, this is a hypothetical, but this was not a high time frame SFP. I don't like the SFP typically to be the same time frame as the breaker. I like it to be, I'd like this to be an H1, H4. Given this is an M1 time frame that we're looking at right now, this could be even M15 SFP. Well, look at this. Look at your setup, right? Like you can get your invalidation super tight, entering off the box. There's already 2 to 1. You can probably get a 5 to 1 out of this. Look at that, right? When you're trading like this, now this was not a level of interest. I'm just using this as a way to outline how these setups look like. I 9 times out of 10 wait for a high time frame level to get taken out, and then I'm looking for the low time frame interaction at that level. This is just to outline quickly so you can see. Well, here was an M1 SFP. Flip the level. Now, on this low of a time frame on M1, you're not going to be risking 1 to 2% of your account for that, because that's a foolish amount of risk to put on for a trade like that. But you risk 0.5%, up to maybe 1%, depending on how you're how dialed into the execution you are. But even 0.5% with this ending up taking out over 5R. I'm not saying you have to let it develop, but I even just say to people trying to learn this strategy, just target 2 to 1 and move on with your day, right? Just to get the reps in. If you're new to trading this way, if this particular strategy that I use, system that I use is new to you, just target 2 to 1, because you're not going to regret taking your 2 to 1, taking your 2R, but you will regret all the times that it comes back to your entry and you close for break even or a slight loss, right? So just get in the habit, and you can expand as you experiment more with how much you actually want to target. But even on a 0.5% of your account, on 5R, that's 2.5% of your account, right? So just food for thought. Why do I trade this way? Because I don't like holding things while I go to bed. I like to go to sleep cozy and comfy. I like to show up to my desk. I like to take my trades. I like to close out for the day and live my life and not focus on the market after the fact. Worry about some news headline that's going to nuke my shit and stop me out. And that also means that I'm never feeling FOMO about wherever price goes. I say this often, but I'm older in life now. I'm well into my 40s, and I like the controlled aspect of trading this way. Yes, it's super low time frame, but you're rewarded for that trade, right? Like, it's a half-hour trade. Whereas if you're just doing a high time frame setup and trading high time frames, you may have to wait days or weeks to get that sort of return. And this is just one quick setup. These happen multiple times a day. That's the thing, right? Like, the way that I trade is a lot faster paced and rewards you quickly for your effort. But you do have to be dialed in. I see a question in the chat from, I'm just going to call you MM. Apologies for the cough. That lingering, loitering bullshit in there. Need to kick out of my system. How do you determine the breaker? It's the level that broke the previous high. Well, as we outlined here, right? There's 2 types of breakers. There is an order block style supply demand breaker, which would be, let's see if, well, Let's take a look and see if I can see one on daily here. Let's take a look. Sorry, just bear with me. I'm just taking a look to see. Okay. So way back over here, at one point in time, this was a swing low to swing high of a bullish daily range. This was your order block at one point. In order block style supply and demand, for a bullish range, you would expect this is where buyers step in. Well, you close below, that flipped into a bearish breaker. Now it eventually broke again, but that was a breaker, right? A breaker is just a failed supply and demand or a failed order block. For this style of a breaker, for the type of breaker that I'm talking about, which is a breaker entry box, a breaker entry pattern, what that is you're waiting for a high time frame SFP, in this case daily, and then what we did on H1, where we outlined over here, I'll get rid of this so you can see. This is the daily level. This is the daily SFP taking place, right? That is this right here. This right here, on daily, this is the H1, the hourly price action, that is that SFP. So what you do is you're looking for, in this case, for a bullish SFP, right? An SFP off of a swing low. You're looking for the swing high that creates the wick of the high time frame SFP, which is here to here. This is the H1 swing high that creates this wick of the daily SFP. You close above it. That confirms it as a bullish breaker. There it is. And another way to view this is in this area where you had aggressive sellers, right? See this cluster of sell action? You now have underwater traders or trap traders, right? If you're an order flow type trader, this is just trapped traders who are shorting aggressively into this low. Price moved against them, flipped it. Well, they're going to be looking to exit as close to break even as possible. You also have patient traders who see this happen, guys like us, and say, okay, this is where I want to be longing, which adds fuel from both of those participants to push this higher. And so what you're looking for is when price comes down into here, people that are long here to protect that position, as well as patient traders who are like, oh, I want one more confirmation. So maybe we get an H1 SFP into here as the next potential leg. So that's how we outline our breakers. Hopefully that makes sense. Does that make sense to you, MM? If you have any other questions, please feel free. Let's move along. Ooh, wow, we're already 44 minutes deep and we're still on ETH. Ugh. Okay, let's move it forward. So that was ETH. There's your levels. This is an H1 level. Let me just... I don't usually mark out H1 levels, so I mark out H4 and above. That was just as reference. You can see when the indicators are on, if this comes down into here as an SFP, use the Lux Algo swing failure pattern indicator. It will show them for you. So you don't have to do that, right? When you're doing your low time frame execution, you don't want to have to be doing all that shit. You want to have your high time frame levels done ahead of time. And then let the indicators do the heavy lifting for the low time frame stuff. Okay, moving on. Let's go back to BTC. Let's take a look at our levels. Okay, so BTC also compressing. No updates to daily levels. Come down to H12. We've had a lot of action off of H12 levels, right? Like we came down into this level today. I took a long earlier off of this SFP into here. It was based on this M15 breaker, right? The same thing that we were just looking at on ETH for that hourly breaker. Well, this was the M15 breaker on BTC, right? Swing high, that creates the wick of the high time frame SFP. Flip the box, boom. Now we're up into another high time frame level, right? So daily, let's take a look at, has anything changed on monthly? I still want this to come down in here. I really do. Weekly, it's looking a little bit droopy poopy on weekly. Not going to lie. Daily, no updates on levels there. Bearish, daily range, swing high to swing low. So market structure break level for a lower low. We're in a compressing range. We've got a bunch of internal swing levels marked out. Here's H12. Now this is a lot of lines going on here. I might have to clean some of this up because this is looking a little bit much. Well, I know that that's an H4 level. Let's see. It's H4. That was the one that we marked out for that H4 SFP alert that I'm getting. It's not confirmed yet, but you know, we're just ping-ponging through these levels. Would not surprise me. Given that we've come down and taken out that level, I can get rid of that. Let me get rid of that because that was the more important level. Let's take a look up in here. Zoom that out. Zoom that out, right? Like these are just levels that have been important. That's why I like to mark them and leave them. They either are naked swing levels or levels that have been important and given a lot of interaction before. Well, look at how much interaction we've had off these levels, right? It's just so that if and or when price gets to one of those levels, I am ready to react rather than sitting there with my dick in my hand saying to myself, well, why are we getting price action here that looks like I want to take a short? Well, if I don't have a level there to as a reference guide and a way to frame the trade, it, you know, then when price gets there, I'm like, okay, I'm zooming out. I'm like, okay, why? Where's, okay, oh, there was a level there. Okay, I can see, well, no, now I'm just already ready to go. I can just trade when price gets there. Now, if you're not used to trading this way, you may look at it and say, well, damn, bro, that's like so many lines that you have there. Well, a couple things we do. A couple things that we do to not let things get too muddy is we use different thicknesses, right? And different colors, so that when price gets there, I know what time frame or what type of level it is that we're interacting with. When I'm looking here, yeah, that level's still giving, right? Like, look at all the interactions. I look to trade those interactions, right? As I said, I am an intraday trader. I will scalp or intraday swing. But I like to do my business and be out. So we're getting that there. Let's take a look. Let's see what we had happen here. Okay, so that H4 SFP that we've put in has not confirmed a breaker yet. You can see how it's rejecting off of that level though. Go down to M1. So M1, you did confirm a breaker right there. It's an M1 bearish breaker off of the H4 level. And given multiple, okay, let's not look at that way for a second. Let's put this back on H4. Let's come out here. Okay, so how the indicators help me, right? We're into here now, right? We have our M1 breaker. Well, you're getting M1 SFPs, right? These are the type of triggers that I like. Late aggressive longs into the level. This could possibly push up again, though. I'm not currently short. I'm not currently in any trades. I'm just mostly marking out my high time frame levels for the next day or so, right? Like it's 9 p.m. I'm probably going to be going to bed in the next 2 hours. At the moment, I'm not focused on entering a trade, right? The beauty of also trading this way is you get your 1, 2, 3% account growth in a day. You don't have to worry about taking any other trades. Just go on with your life. Yes, you can sit there and keep banging them out wherever you are on your trading journey, depending on how many trades you want to be taking a day. But if you get your 1, 2, 3% account growth, you just go live your life. But this is, right, like as we spoke about here on our outline, high time frame levels are strategy, and then showing you guys some of the low time frame setups that I like. Well, that's what we're doing here. This is an H4 level, H4 SFP, M1 bearish breaker, close below, retested, M1 SFPs into the level, boom, right? Like you just enter off that. You can either put your stop above here, or you can, once you've worked out your execution kinks and practice this a lot, I personally just enter and don't actually put a stop. I'll just manually close myself out. If this starts to trade up against me, back up towards that level, I will manually stop myself out so that I very small loss or drawdown, and I will re-enter if I get another setup somewhere over here. Okay, lads, so that's BTC. This is a possible short. I would like to get a proper short from somewhere up in here for more of a swing type. I know I just spent the whole time talking about how I mostly intraday and do a lot of scalping, but when the setup occurs, I think this is a clean short up here. And this is really interesting price action, right? It's so controlled. But hopefully by now, for the guys that have been with me for a while, and some of you who are newer to finding my streams and learning about my process and system, you get trades off of these high time frame levels all day. And while everyone on CT is shitting themselves saying these are the worst trading conditions they've ever seen, and how can you take a trade and blah, 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 wah, 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 wah. Seriously. They're just not used to trading this way. This isn't how they like to trade. They like to take high time frame setups for high time frame swings. Well, the market hasn't been giving that for a long time. It has not been a multi-day swing hold market at all. At some point, it will do that. Like we've had swing shorts. Shorts have been, right? Like we nailed the Pico top. Right? Like there was a weekly SFP, H12 bearish breaker set up from here. Well, if you find that you're getting confused by this price action and you're taking trades and you're getting stopped out all the time, just adjust your time frame. Still use high time frame levels. I preach all the time that I'm a high time frame levels trader, just low time frame interaction, right? High time frame levels give you the best response, but I'm trading those on low time frame. So that's what I see in here right now, right? Are there any other levels of importance here on H4? I mean, maybe up there. Maybe into there, maybe into there. But my breaker's already given me that level here. So yes, this is a bullish H12 breaker, but if I get something up into there, price up into there that wicks that, then you can look for a short there as well. The long this morning was down here. Right now we're facing this right here. So, you know, if you get the M5 close below this, you look to short a retest. We've already had the M1 that we talked about, right? Close below, retest. But it's starting to slow grind up, and I don't like slow grindy price action because it usually means the level's going to break, like breakthrough. I'm just giving you ideas of the different trades that you can be looking for into these high time frame levels. I haven't done a low time frame live trade execution episode session in a little bit. I found that because I was doing them at set times, right? I was doing when I'm doing the New York Open show in the morning time EST, that I was starting to force trades that I normally wouldn't take because we were live. I want to give you guys insights into the trades, but I found that I was just forcing trades that I wouldn't necessarily take. I was taking not my high time frame levels, I was forcing low time frame levels, which is not what I like to do. High time frame levels, low time frame execution. Well, this is a high time frame level, so this would be something that is an acceptable trade to me. I just don't like how it's slow chopping back up into here. I think ideally now, seeing this price action, you want at least the M5 breaker. M15 is, where's the low? Okay, so the M15 breaker's here. Right, like just like this was an M15 breaker here. This is an M15 bearish breaker here. But the M5 is here. So what you could do is just wait for that M5. If you get a close below there, you either limit short the edge of the box, stop up there, or you look for the low time frame stuff like what we look for on M1, like those M1 SFPs or another M5 SFP up into here, or large market bubbles up into a level, market buys, right? That's just late aggressive market buys. And then that could be your next trigger. We'll come back to this in a bit. Let's move along to Solana. Let's take a look at our SOL chart. Here's H12. Oh, I see we did an H12 SFP, but let's zoom out for a second. I mean, it still looks like absolute shit. I still think Solana trades lower. Just looking at monthly, weekly, same thing as BTC and ETH, inside week, right? We're inside of that week, inside week play. Nothing new here. Daily. So, oh, that's not what I wanted. I want this. I see a daily swing, internal range swing high there. So we'll mark that out. It's internal swing level. There's one right there, but that weekly range quarter is doing just fine as an indicator of that. We had an H12 SFP there. Well, excuse me. What do I see here? We put in an H12 SFP here. Just the same as ETH put in a daily SFP. Well, Solana put in an H12. By the way, lads, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Let's switch up this track. Let's put something different on. Something different on. Switch up the vibe a little bit. Ooh, there we go. There's a vibe. Okay, so Solana, H12 SFP. Am I seeing other swing levels? I see one there. Let's extend that across. H12 levels. Go to H4. Okay, so we had a bullish H4 breaker with an H4 SFP into that breaker. Like, doesn't get much cleaner than that as a long trigger. Encountering some resistance here, right? Like, this is why we mark our levels and leave those levels, because you never know when they're going to be relevant again in the future. I can get rid of this. Oops, no, that's not what I just do. What did I just do? Get rid of that. There we go. Clean that up a little bit. So we're into an H4 level here. Bullish H4 breaker. H4 SFP'd into there. So you can inception this shit, right? You can go full blown inception on these, right? So you got your H4 bullish breaker, right? We outlined this on our last session. I said if price comes down into here, near this breaker, this is where you're looking for the next long. Well, we were up here somewhere, and now we're down here, right? You just gotta have patience. There have been other trades along the way, right? Well, now you've got an H4 SFP within the bullish H4 breaker. How can you inception this? Might be asking yourself, how the fuck do you inception that? Okay, well, next we're going to go down. Let's take a look at M5. Aha. So this is our H4 level, right? This is the H4 SFP right here. Just like our other breakers, there's the swing high that creates the wick of the H4 SFP. There's your M5 breaker. That's how you just inception that shit. And you can go and inception that shit, right? Close above, back within, SFP, right? Oops. Boom, 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 boom. Enter. Compound. Enter. Compound, right? Stop below there. Or do as I do. Have a manual stop, meaning you're not putting a stop. You're just, you know, assessing the price action as these are taking place. And what was I just saying a moment ago, right? Enter, compound, right? So you're seeing that happen. Put on more into your position if you're seeing these interactions like this, right? So say you got that SFP there and you caught this one and you entered there. We'll put our stop here for shits and giggles if you like to have a hard stop. If you need that sort of guardrail, which I do recommend if you're new to this type of trading, that you do. Well, shit. You didn't have to go very far to get 2 to 1. But you got, just like that other ETH trade, there's a 5. Right? And it doesn't look done. But that's how you inception that shit, right? What do I mean by inception that shit? Well, that's what I meant. All right, so let's go back over here. Here was your H4 bullish breaker, right? It was an H12 SFP, right? H12 SFP right there. So this is the let's run this down. Let's run this down real quick. Let's just do this for a quick second. Let's do a text block. Okay, step 1. High time frames. H4, H12, D1, etc. SFP. That's your high time frame signal, right? You're looking for your high time frame levels. Step 2. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Just give me a moment. My son needs something. Just give me a second. And we're back. Apologies about that. So you get your high time frame signal. 2, then I'm looking for a, so there's 2 ways to approach this, right? You do your high time frame signal, your high time frame level, and you're trading super low time frame like M1, the initial reaction. That's how I like to trade often. But if you're waiting for your setup, more setup based approach, right, where you're not relying on the indicators that I do and scalping M1, high time frame signal. Now you want your your mid time frame, right? Setup, which would be something like M5, oops, M5, M15, H1 breaker. And 3, you want your low time frame, low time frame signal. And this may even be up to H4. Let me add here. Right, like H4 is really my crossover time frame that I'm mostly using for a higher time frame. But if you're off of like a daily level and you get an H4 breaker, that's your mid time frame. And then low time frame signal might be a H1, sorry, no, might be an M1, M5, M15, H1, SFP within that setup. There's various ways of getting on board. It may be price tagging a moving average, a low time frame moving average within your mid time frame setup. But then the next inception of that, right? Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Right, like you can really inception the shit out of this, but it's at some point you just gotta take the trade, right? Like I'm just giving you a framework that you can use though. So this is your inception list, right? Like you get your high time frame signal. That's your high time frame level with either a sweep or an SFP into the level. And you get your mid time frame. I would even remove M5 from here. I would say this is more M15 and above, but sometimes M5 works. You get your low time frame signal within your mid time frame setup. So let's just go and take a look at what that actually means. And, you know, screenshot this if you want, copy this. Take a screenshot of that so that you know what that means. So let's just inception this for you guys real quick, what that all looks like. Right here, we had an H12 SFP right there. Then we had an H4 breaker. This is the swing high that creates the H12 SFP. You flip it, turns into a bullish breaker. Now we're saying to ourselves, this is our target zone, right? The breaker is our target zone. This is the trade setup. Signal is the H12 SFP. Setup is the H4 target zone. Now we came over here. This is step 3 of inception. This is your H4 SFP within your target zone. You got your H4 SFP there, but just like we had an H12 SFP here, H4 breaker, now we have an H4 SFP, M5 breaker. And there's your inception, right? There's the breaker, meaning this is the swing high that created the H4 SFP, the wick of that SFP. You flipped it, price comes back into here. Now here's step 4 of inception. There is your M5. Well, actually, this may even be step 5 of inception. Like, this is how inception, this is how deep down the inception hole we just went, right? Then your SFP's into there. If you are a very hands-on approach to trading, this is what you're doing. If you're low touch, very minimal touch, you like a much more basic approach, well then you may just be entering off the edge of the H4 breaker on a retest, enter off the top, stop at the low, or you may just be catching the H4 SFP and say, okay, it gave me an SFP, I'm just going to buy that. Right? There's different levels of how hands-on you want to be, or how much time you can commit to trading, that you can employ different strategies to this. You have to be honest with yourself about your time commitments and your availability and how dialed in on the charts you want to be, right? So that was our inception. That was us going on the inception hole, right? You could have even probably gone M1 on this too. M1 and M5 are pretty much the same thing. Yes, you have this down here, but you don't know that this is actually going to close as an H4 SFP here, right? So the M5 was the better trade, but you did have an M1 setup there. I wouldn't have used that personally because the SFP level is so far away that I would, M5 is all you need. Okay, so that was our inception on Solana. Let's zoom back out, take a look at our H4s. I don't know. I think maybe you want to monitor this. Oops. I think if you're looking for next shorts, though, really you're looking for something up into here. You can see how that level's been important before. I also see here there's a bearish H4 breaker right here. All right, this is the swing low that created an H4 SFP. There's the H4 SFP, it's right there, right? So swing low that creates the H4 SFP, close below. So there is a case to be made for hunting shorts in here. Similar to how on BTC we had, right? H4 bearish breaker, H12 bullish breaker, ping pong in between them, right? Well, on Solana, there's an H4 bearish breaker. You even had after the close below it retested, right? This would have been one where you would have had to just enter off the box. It didn't give you anything else, but I think you are aware of this here, and you say to yourself, okay, I'm open to shorts in here. it's not about being bullish or bearish though, right? Like my whole approach, and anyone that's been with me for a while, it's not about being bullish or bearish. It's just about trading the levels and going both directions. You trade long, you trade short. It doesn't fucking matter. And it shouldn't matter. It's when you corner yourself into having a bias is when you throw rationality out the window sometimes, right? And because you in your mind you've said to yourself it has to be bullish or it has to be bearish, that you position yourself for more of a swing trade when the market and the charts have just been giving you intraday trades, right? So I don't see, especially in these conditions, a benefit to being completely bullish or completely bearish. Not that the chart is bullish by any means, right? Like I'm not like, I don't think there's too many raging bulls left at the moment. But regardless, you don't want to be a gay ass bear too who thinks we're just going to keep going down. Just trade the market, right? Like just like we had this long ass range over here. You can trade longs and trade shorts until it broke lower. Well, now we're forming another range, right? Just trade the levels. Trade the levels. Trade the levels. I actually think getting up into here might give another juicy short. Juicy, juicy. Juicy, juicy. Extend this one as well. So we've got H12 levels, H4 levels, daily levels, all of our levels. I mean, maybe even this might. Who knows? It's still just under 2 hours until close. Like if this comes back down, you may have another short there. Just adjust your expectations because the market is not telling you to swing for the fences. It's just telling you to take each level, take each trade one level at a time. And if price starts to do something into a level that suggests you should exit the trade, then secure your profits and look for the next trade. And there's trades all day long, right? You don't have to be sitting there worried to yourself like, oh, I'm gonna miss the Pico bottom, or I feel like a homo just taking a short little fucking trade. But that's what the chart is giving you, and those compound really quickly, especially when you mitigate your drawdown this way. When you're trading low time frame execution off these high time frame levels, your drawdown risk is very limited. And if you start learning how to manage your stops manually, your drawdown is almost like the only risk with that is if price starts to do something that you don't like and you don't cut, you're risking much larger losses than had you put a hard stop. I've just been trading this way now for long enough that I'm comfortable with my execution and quick to cut if it starts to go against me. That I don't really worry about that. But you have to ask yourself, what is your capabilities? What are your capabilities? What's your psychological impact like? Can you be neutral? And when things don't look the way that you want to see, can you cut without putting yourself into massive drawdown? If the answer to that is yes, I'm capable of cutting, then use a manual stop. If your answer to that is no, I would just see it go down and say, oh, it's going to go back up. Or maybe I'll add to it. I'll compound. I'll DCA down into it because I think it's going to reverse. That's not, then no. Just use a hard stop. Okay, well, that's our levels. Getting back to MM's question about hype. So let's take a look at hype. Okay, everyone's clear on our high time frame levels across Solana, BTC, and ETH. right? We went through our high time frame levels. At a bare minimum, if you're not sure about how I'm marking a lot of this stuff out, at a bare minimum, just monitor every 4-hour candle close, every H4 close. When you get a swing level, a swing high or a swing low, just draw a line. Draw a line. So that in the event price gets there, you're ready to trade the interaction. So if you get price action here that says this looks like a short because either it gives you a low time frame market structure break or you're getting really late aggressive buys into the level that you can trade against, right? You're just counter trading the retards. That's all that we're doing, right? No offense, but we're having the patience to counter trade people who got aggressive late into a level. It would be the same down here. If you see price comes down here and you get people pushing short really hard, and then you recapture the level and do a low time frame market structure break, you're just counter trading them, right? You're taking the opposite side of the FOMO trades. People that FOMO into a level, whether that be long or short, we're taking the opposite side of that trade. And there is a lot of money to be made taking the opposite side of those trades. Okay. Well, that is our big three. Let's move now to hype. We'll go to my high time frame swings layout. Well, what do we have here? Our weekly bullish breaker. We came down into that weekly range quarter now. Right, we've had this marked out for a while. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 weeks ago, we drew this breaker, this bullish breaker. It's a monthly SFP with a weekly bullish breaker. Looks like BTC is coming down a bit because it's back below the H4 SFP level. Weekly bullish breaker. We've been looking for this sort of price action into here. Let's come over to H12. Okay, so H12 SFPs. Got an H12 SFP into the H12 SFP. Look at that. Right? H12 SFP. So you were asking about an H4 SFP retest and long setup. Well, I see this H12 SFP. Let's see if we've had an H1 breaker. We have. We've now had an H1 higher high. This is your H1 bullish breaker. So you're hunting longs in this box. The thesis for this trade is H12 SFP near the range lows, right? I'm a big believer in I'm looking for reasons to hunt shorts at range highs and reasons to hunt long at range lows. I'm a big range trader. Markets tend to range like 80% of the time. Yeah, it most likely is H4. Let's see. Yeah, you got H4 SFP right here. Now, you're into the H4 high here. If this SFP is this on H4, it may change the scenario, but you have an hour and a half. If H4 closes above here, you have an H4 breaker confirmed. The higher the time frame, the higher the signal. So an H4 breaker would be a pretty big signal off of an H4 SFP. So we'll leave this here on H4. Let's come back over to daily real quick. Let's see. So you also had a daily SFP right there. Right there. Let's do a quick. Here. Let's take a look real quick. Let's go to let's go to Hyperliquid for a second. I'm going to choose my high time frame swing screener pro. I'm going to put it on 1 minute because that's how the screener works. It needs to be on the 1 minute. We're going to look for alert SFP daily true. Hype. Bam. Add a daily SFP. Well, all of these coins put in daily SFPs. That's a pretty significant list of coins. Let's adjust for volume. Above 50 million 24-hour volume. Scan again. Now we've got a much more manageable list of coins that put in daily SFPs. Man, my screeners be banging. Look at that list. So it either alerts you or you can check it through the screener, and look at that. All of these coins put in a daily SFP that have sufficient 24-hour volume that is tradable. Anything below 50 mil, and I'm not a huge fan of trading them. Not because the signal is not reliable, just that they're more prone to doing funky price action where you get stopped out, and then the move happens. Not what I enjoy doing. But we can see here, I put in that daily SFP. So, and we saw that right here. Daily SFP right there. Damn, my shit is good. So, daily SFP, H12 SFP, H12 SFP into the daily SFP, banging. H4 SFP as well, holding that daily SFP level there. If this confirms as an H4 breaker off of a daily SFP, that's a fucking banging setup. Then we just do that inception shit that I was telling you guys about. Well, you have your H4 breaker, you're looking for a pullback into the box. You know, some people might say, you may be asking yourself, well, why not just long now? Well, because you're late to this move. You don't want to be the late longers here. What you're doing is once you get this confirmed with the close above and you confirm the breaker, you're buying a retest. You're not just market buying as soon as it's closed above. No, you're having some patience and waiting for a retest. And what that might look like is maybe you get an H1 SFP into your H4 breaker. Maybe you get an M15 SFP into here. You might as well just wait for this H4 to close at this point, right? Let's take a look at H1. Yeah, well, we did that already. The H1 breaker confirmed, closed above. So maybe it's an H1 SFP into here, or any number of candles could come down, and then you get the setup. That's how you inception that. That is how you inception that. Damn, the screener is so clean. It is a good fucking tool. I spent some good time building it, and it is a lifesaver for the way that I like to trade. And I do get people questioning or asking about the screeners. They're currently private use only. Thinking through and figuring out if I want to open up access for them and what that might look like. Stay tuned. At the moment, they are private use, but I will share during these streams, during these sessions, or from time to time in my Telegram channel, I will post the tokens that put in the SFPs. Okay, so basically you wait for a shorter time frame SFP inside the breaker when it retests. Often, yes. Often that's what I'm looking for. You can also look for moving average plays, right? So let's zoom out on this. So this would be H12. So over here on H1. All right? Well, look at that. You came into the H4 EMA 200, tagged it perfectly, pulling back into the breaker. It may even just be buying these short moving averages, right? So EMA 21, EMA 13, EMA 50. Maybe it's just a retest into there and you're just buying, taking a few chews into there. Or you wait and see if you get an H1 SFP there, right? You just start layering bits because on H1, your bias is bullish. I would personally wait to see if this H4 closes the breaker and confirms it, because if this closes as an H4 SFP, well then it could just trail all the way back down. Right, you can see here we're into the H4 EMA 200. That's the orange line. can see how important that H4 EMA 200 has been. Bounced, bounce, lost, underside retested, rejected. Now we're underside retesting again, which this would add more weight if this H4 SFP is here, because the combination of those two things would add a little bit more weight to any potential bearishness here. But given that we did the daily SFP, H12 SFP, H4 SFP, all into this weekly breaker that we've been waiting for the trade in, I think you want to remain leaning long. But yeah, basically what the inception is you're just layering the setups. And that's, for me, how I found using high time frame setups work the best, is that I layer those multiple time frames, high time frame signal, mid time frame setup, low time frame signal, low time frame setup, and there's your trade. I discovered a while back that I really don't enjoy being in drawdown. Just the way that my personality is, I like to be rewarded for my trades rather quickly. I have patience to wait for my levels. That I don't mind being patient about. You can wait all day long, wait for a level to hit. But when it does, I want my trades to be rewarded pretty quickly with evidence that the trade wants to trade in my favor. But I do that by having probabilities stacked in my favor, meaning that I'm not just blind knife bidding. I'm not knife catching. I'm not blind bidding. I'm waiting for low time frame market structure breaks, low time frame breakers, low time frame SFPs in the direction of that align with the direction of the trade that I'm trying to take. So for here, you're looking for a long. Well, you want bullish SFPs, right? That's all that the inceptioning is. Okay, well, this actually looks quite good on hype. Yeah, an hour and a half until close. You really want to see it close above the breaker. So just draw this box. Anyone that's looking to take the long on hype, yourself, draw that box. I'll draw it for you one more time here so you can see. I'll remove the indicator so it's super easy. There is your H12 SFP, H4 SFP as well, but it's an H12 level. Here is the swing high, right? It's higher than that level. So there's the swing high that creates the wick of the H12 SFP. Lock it at the bottom of the box, drag your box over. There's your H4 breaker, right? Swing high. Aggressive shorters. We're underwater. They're trying to exit at break even. Patient traders like us are trying to buy the retest for the long. Right? And then just mark out a few things and just monitor. Have patience. You don't need to chase anything. The one thing I've learned, not the one thing, but something that I have learned, the longer that I've used this strategy that I use, is how it pays to be patient. Because you may be thinking, oh, I've missed that trade. I would say 80% of the time, you're going to get that pullback. And if not, maybe you put in something here and you get an H1 SFP above the breaker, or an M15 SFP above the breaker, right? Or maybe it just comes down to here and gives you an SFP there, and there's your trigger. But we're still waiting at the moment for the H4 to confirm. The H1's already confirmed though, and that's high enough time frame for this system, right? That's the classic trader main H12 H1, right? Right, like this is the classic trader main H12 SFP. It's also a daily SFP. So there's your SFP, H12. Here's your H1 breaker. You closed above. Bit of retest, right? Like his system, and shout out to Trader Man, learned a lot from him over the years. His system is just putting a limit order on the edge of the H1 breaker, stop below, and enduring whatever price action comes down into here, whatever drawdown you're going to be in, but knowing that your risk is capped at 1% or 2% if you get stopped out, right? I take that a step further and say, okay, there's my breaker. What's the low time frame trade that I can use to get myself on board that limits any of the time the price is spent in here, that I'm entering something in here? Okay. All right, lads, we're at a little over an hour and a half. It's 9:30. We're going to wrap this up. If there are no further questions, I will say good night. Thank you for joining me for another Rapture Scalp and Swing Sessions. Number 15, the Daily Close Show. We looked at BTC. We looked at ETH. We looked at SOL. We looked at Hype at our high time frame levels, planned out some strategy. We outlined a lot of different low time frame setups, a lot of the different types of setups that I look for specifically to get myself on board trades. We took a look at some of the alerts that I got from my screener for daily SFPs. ETH put in a daily SFP, Hype put in a daily SFP, as well a whole bunch of others. Sure, let's go back to this real quick before we go, right? Like this is Hyperliquid. Take a look at Lighter. What put in daily SFPs on Lighter? Aster, right? These are all coins with over 50 mil 24-hour volume. It just narrows down your field of vision so you're not trading all over the place. You know, do you trade on breakout? Well, you can take a look at breakout. What put in a daily SFP? There's your breakout coins. Daily SFPs, over 50 mil 24-hour volume. Are you trading on Orderly? Right? Orderly has a whole bunch of different dexes, so it looks like a bunch of coins no longer have price action, so I probably need to delete those, whatever those are. Or are you trading over at my partners for the show Bing X? Ooh, there we go. Well, there's a lot of coins that had 0 24-hour volume, so I may have to update that list, but from the Bing X pairs, the only coin that put in a daily SFP is ETH. That is interesting. Okay, and one last thing that I will leave you guys with is, regardless of what venue you trade on, do your analysis on the Binance USDT.P Perps pairs charts, because that's where the majority of the market lives. Those are going to be the canonical signals for a high time frame. You execute and place your stops and your entries based off of the venue that you trade on, whether that be Bing X, or whether that be Hyperliquid or Lighter or Binance. Wherever you trade, execute your trades there. But do your analysis, do your high time frame analysis and market monitoring on the USDT.P Binance Perps pairs, because it is, in my experience, the most reliable chart in crypto. And on that, we are going to wrap it up. And again, this has been Rapture Scalp and Swing Sessions number 15, live perps trading and analysis, where our focus is on process, patience, and execution. This has been the Daily Close Show. If you're looking for a new exchange, go to bingx.com and use code Rapture on sign up to get all those juicy bonuses. Lads, thank you very much for joining me. To all who joined live, old friends and new, I appreciate each and every one of you. This has been Rapture, and I am signing out. Have yourselves a good evening, and we'll catch up again soon. Ciao.